Yeah. Straight up. Let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. Tap in, sit back, press replay. We're locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talk every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script, just truth when we break it down. Barbershop talk, but we broadcast it loud. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJAY. Real time talk, yeah, you know that it's live. From the draft to the deals, how the stars really thrive. From the court to the field to the big stage. We gon' cover every angle like a back page. No cap, no spin, just a clear take. If it's weak, we gon' say, let the fear break. From the city that believe when the odds stack, TJ got the whole sports world in the group chat. Straight Up TJAY. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJAY. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJAY. TJ Jones, turn it up, let it ride. Straight Up TJAY. We on your side. New chapter, same grind, same name. Hit play, pull up. Join the gang, Yeah. Who that nation? Turn me up. Quarterback locked in, lights on. Shut time. Shut. Let it go. Touchdown lights when he running that show. Black and gold, we already know. Tyler Shuck got the Superdome. Like whoa. Shut. Feel the vibe. Fourth quarter, still alive. Who that ride? Side by side. Tyler Shuck got the city outside. Step in the huddle, everybody locked in. Calm in the pocket with the game on 10. Defense coming, but he don't fall. Eyes downfield in that black and gold. Quick release, let it fly real clean. Superdome rocking like a movie scene. Crowd going crazy, hear the baseline boom. Shuck hit the field and lit up the room. New era, new spark, new flame. Big arm energy, remember the name. From the snap to the pass to the end zone dance. Saints got a shot every time he got a chance. Hands up high when the Saints come through. Black and gold, yeah, you know what we do. Say his name when the beat drop low. Tyler Shuck, now let everybody know. Yeah, Shuck, let it go. Touchdown lights when he running that show. Black and gold, we already know. Tyler Shuck got the Superdome. Like whoa. Shuck. Feel the vibe. Fourth quarter, still alive. Who that ride? Side by side. Tyler Shuck got the city outside. Pressure in his face, still standing tall. Reads that coverage, then he drops that ball. Right on time, right on cue. Marching down the field like the Saints gon' do.
Hey, what's going on? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, and welcome to another edition of the Straight Up TJAY podcast, where we get you lit before we even say a word. Thank you so much for allowing the Straight Up TJAY podcast to be a part of your listening and viewing pleasure. Happy Tuesday if you're watching this live, July 21st of 2026. And we got some things that we need to discuss. But before we do, I just ask that everybody hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, let everybody know how much you enjoy Straight Up TJAY podcast. Really do appreciate that. Man, before I even mention anything about the podcast, I just want to say to everybody that stumbled across this podcast, whether this is your first time, whether this is your 1,031st time, thank you so much. I started this journey back in 2018, and now I'm going into, what is this, like my 9th season doing this? I mean, it's absolutely incredible, the love and support that I've gotten over the years. So I just want to give a special shout out to everybody, for everybody that has checked out this podcast, that has made it what it is, to all the people that I interviewed, to all the individuals that have encouraged me to do this, thank you all so much. I just had to put that out there because, time goes by and people tend to forget. I don't. Okay. I appreciate the love that people have shown to me on this podcast journey. But enough of all the mushy stuff. Let's talk a little bit about our topics for this episode. We're going to talk a little bit about Chris Olave and how I feel he will be a top 10 receiver when the 2026 season is all said and done. And we're also going to be talking about some shocking news, man. A lot of media personalities have been let go over the last couple of days. We're going to get into that. What is going on in the national media space? And we're going to get into that. But once again, if you want to interact with us here, we're a very interactive podcast. All you have to do is put those comments in the chat if you want to tap in.
Yeah. Tap in. Straight up TJ on the mic. If you with me, let me know. Drop your name in the chat tonight. I want that real talk, not a ghost. Say what get you the most. If you vibing, make it loud. We can run it back, go coast to coast. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. If you feel that, yeah, run it right back. Put your comments in the chat. We would like to hear from you. Straight up TJ, tap in. Straight up TJ, tap in. Put your comments in the chat. Let the whole room see it too. Straight up TJ, tap in. Straight up TJ, tap in.
Yeah. All you have to do, if you want to tap in, put those comments in the chat. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Let's talk a little bit about Chris Olave, man. Chris Olave, of course, made his debut on the NFL Top 100. I believe he was number 64 or 62. I can't remember. But he made his debut, and that was his first time making NFL Top 100. So congratulations to Chris Olave. He is starting to get the attention from the NFL masses. Of course, we know the NFL Top 100 is voted on by his peers, which is active NFL players. So for Chris Olave even to be in the conversation, that's a step in the right direction. Look, I like Chris Olave a lot. I think that Chris Olave has all the talent, all the abilities to be one of the top wide receivers in the game. And I think we all seen last season that if Chris Olave has someone throwing him the ball consistently, he can make plays. He had 1,100 yards, 100 catches on the nose, and 9 touchdowns, and he was a second-team All-Pro. So that tells you that he has the talent and the abilities to be a really good receiver. But here's why I feel that Chris Olave will be a top 10 receiver in the National Football League this year. Before I do want to mention some of the names. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the top 10. And this was the top 10 that was rankings according to ESPN. I'm going to go ahead and try to find that graphic here. Okay, so the top 10 wide receivers, according to ESPN, number 1 was Jamar Chase. Number 2 is Justin Jefferson. Number 3, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Number 4, Puka Nacua. Number 5, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Number 6, CeeDee Lamb. Number 7, George Pickens. Number 8, Nico Collins. Number 9, A.J. Brown. And coming in at number 10 is the veteran Devontae Adams. So those are your top 10 wide receivers according to ESPN. And I have to say, I have absolutely no problem with any one of those gentlemen being on the list. All of those guys deserve to be on the list. And there's some conversation about, did Chris Olave get snubbed? Should he have been on the list? I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. And y'all know how I roll. I'm realistic. I'm not a homer. I don't believe he belongs on the top 10 list, at least not yet. You look at that list, you have to wonder to yourself, who would you take off that list to put Chris Olave? Like, just think about it. Like, think about the names of the guys that I just read off and tell me, would you replace any one of those guys with Chris Olave? I mean, you can make an argument that maybe if you want to, do like a 11 or 12 or something like that, he'll probably fall into that category. I'm thinking maybe top 15, somewhere there between 13 to 15. But all in all, you're not taking any one of those wide receivers off the list. All of those players have done some really amazing things throughout their careers. But you can make an argument that goes back to what I originally said. Chris Olave has some issues, when it comes to consistent quarterback play. The New Orleans Saints, since Drew Brees retired, have been trying to find someone that can provide stability at the quarterback position. And when you are dealing with a situation like that, sometimes people have a tendency of believing that maybe the wide receiver isn't good enough. Maybe the pass catchers aren't good enough. But if you find the right quarterback, and all signs are starting to indicate that they did in Tyler Shuck, you will start to see some of those wide receivers come alive. Now, that's not the only excuse that you can make, because when you think about some of the top receivers to play the game, like I'll bring up DeAndre Hopkins, he never really had a stable quarterback. I mean, he was catching passes from guys like TJ Yates and Brock Osweiler and stuff, like not guys that are household names, basically revolving door quarterbacks. So you can't just chunk that up completely. But having stability at the quarterback position, it helps that wide receiver to be able to branch out and show the entire world that they are worth talking about. Now, Chris Olave has shown towards the end of the season that he has that capability. And if he can stay healthy, and if Tyler Shuck takes a step forward, then you're going to see Chris Olave put up some of the best numbers of his career. We've seen this with Jackson Smith-Njigba, right? Jackson Smith-Njigba was kind of a co-star to DK Metcalf in Seattle, right? And then last season, we saw DK Metcalf, move on, go to the Pittsburgh Steelers, get paid by them, and Jackson Smith-Njigba became the number one guy and had his best season statistically, and he was the offensive player of the year. So with that, you see that all it takes is for a guy to get an opportunity and the right quarterback in the right situation, and you start to see a player come alive. Now, it also helps that Chris Olave was able to branch out a little bit more and show a little bit more of what he can do as a wide receiver when Rashid Shaheed got traded. And I've said this on several occasions. I think that the trade of Rashid Shaheed helped Chris Olave become that second team All-Pro, because Rashid Shaheed was the Saints down the field threat. He was the guy taking the top off the defense. He was the guy that was going for the big plays. When Rashid Shaheed got traded, the Saints needed someone to be able to do that. And if you go back to the time when Chris Olave was at Ohio State, he was to take the top off the defense receiver. You had guys like Garrett Wilson that was kind of running the same similar routes that Chris Olave was running, with the Saints being that number one guy. And then you had Jackson Smith-Njigba kind of doing his thing as a possession guy. And he was a little bit more of a, he was a little bit more of a physical wide receiver. And then you had Chris taking the top off the defense. So he was able to go back to a spot where his bread was buttered and, became that first round pick. So you add the fact that Chris Olave is a crisp route runner. You add the fact that he can, work in a flat. And now you are really playing to his strength, where you have a guy who was coming out of Ohio State who ran a 4.26. You got him running down the field, and you have a guy who can put touch on a football and put it in a spot where Chris Olave can make plays. That is a recipe for success. And then you look at the young bull that's coming in Jordan Tyson. It is also going to help Chris Olave to be able to really step up and really truly start making some plays. I believe in Chris Olave. I believe in him. Now, the conversation that I've had throughout this time was I don't look at him as a number one receiver. And the reason why I would always say that and put this out there, I said that he has the capabilities and the ability to be a number one receiver. but I haven't seen it yet. But if you add the fact that Chris Olave is now going to have someone in Tyler Shuck that can get him the football, and then you have another wide receiver that has the capabilities of looking like a number one guy that defenses are going to have to scheme for. I mean, there's only so many spots in so many areas that you're going to be able to roll coverage, right? You can't double team both guys, right? Or somebody else is going to be eating, like Juwan Johnson or Noah Fant or Oscar Delp or one of those other tight ends, or even, running back in the backfield. So you're going to have to account for two very talented wide receivers. So if Chris Olave can put it all together, and all signs are indicating that he wants to. I mean, he's in the best shape of his life. Seems like he's gained some muscle. Seems like he wants to be a little bit more physical. And, I think that he will emerge as that number one guy that he needs to be for the New Orleans Saints. And I'm looking forward to seeing what Chris Olave can do in 2026. I believe in the guy. I think that this will be the year where he becomes that number one receiver as long as he stays healthy. And we know that he is up for a big payday, which I expect for the New Orleans Saints to try to handle that business. So Chris Olave can go into training camp ready to rock and roll. As long as that is out there, you have to wonder, what is Chris Olave going to do during training camp? Is he only going to take part in certain drills? Will he take part in the entire process while the contract negotiations are going on? Last year, it was different, right? He was coming off a devastating concussion injury, that cost him the majority of the season. He even came out and said that, I don't have any leverage. I mean, I'm paraphrasing here, but he was like, I don't have room to talk about a new contract. Well, now you do. You have 100 catches, 1,100 yards, and 9 touchdowns, and you played in 16 games. So you combine all that, now you have the leverage. So I'm wondering, what is that going to look like? Will Chris Olave be taking part in the activities you would want him to so he can hit the ground running? But I think that this would be the year where Chris Olave really branches out and, being in that top 60 range, top 70 or whatever you want to call it, in the NFL top 100, I think that he will catapult his way to at least, the top 30, top 40. So, that's something that I feel that Chris Olave can do. I believe in him. I believe in Tyler Shuck, and I believe what the Saints are building. And if, all signs that we're seeing that shows us that the Saints are trying to trend in the right direction, or they are trending in the right direction, Chris Olave should have a good season. But thank you all so much once again for being here. We're going to go ahead and go to the comments here. Going to go ahead and take this graphic off of the screen here. What we're going to do is we're going to read some of the comments. And once again, if you have something to say, make sure you put your comments in the chat. Going to start with Gregory. Gregory says, TJ, every wide receiver was in Chris Olave's draft class. All wide receivers got paid except for him. Yeah, that is true. Garrett Wilson got paid. I don't know if Jamison Williams, did he get paid? I know Jamison Williams, he was part of that draft class. Chris Olave was part of that draft class. That's great. But you also have to look at Chris Olave's situation too. Chris Olave had that monster season, best season statistically of his career. But you still have to take into account that Chris Olave has had a history of concussions. And I'm pretty sure when we're talking about contract negotiations, that is brought up. Like, fair or unfair, we have to look at the NFL as a business. We can't get mad at the New Orleans Saints for trying to protect themselves contractually for a guy that has had a history of concussions. And you can't get mad at Chris Olave for saying, yeah, I'm having these issues, but look at the numbers that I put up when y'all put the right quarterback around me. So when it comes to that, you have sides trying to negotiate. Maybe they're trying to get the verbiage correctly when it comes to the contract. Maybe, the Saints want to put a clause inside of the contract. Maybe the representation don't feel like the clause should be there. I mean, I'm just throwing stuff out there. I don't know what it is, but I'm pretty sure the New Orleans Saints know what they have in Chris Olave, and Chris Olave wants to be in New Orleans. So I'm pretty sure the contract will get done sooner rather than later. I just don't want this to be a distraction. If I'm the New Orleans Saints, I don't want it to be a distraction going into the training camp and the offseason process and getting ready for the regular season. You don't want that to be, a distraction where people are writing about it all the time, all the beat writers, and people are discussing it all the time. And then all of a sudden, let's just say, for example, he's not taking part in a lot of the activities. And then that's the topic of conversation. So you want to make sure that your ducks are in a row and you have Chris Olave ready to rock and roll. I think the Saints going Jimmy Graham, unfortunately, they're going to pay him this year and going to trade him next offseason with the hopes of Tyson is who we think he can be at the wide receiver position. Well, that's a very interesting theory, Hakeem, that if the New Orleans Saints were to do that, but I don't think that's in the New Orleans Saints plans. Number one, the Saints don't really operate like that, especially when it comes to a player like Chris Olave. Like Chris Olave isn't one of those players that is boisterous. He's not the type of guy that just rattles the cages and becomes a little bit of a distraction. Like I think that is two different situations that we're talking about here. With Jimmy Graham was a tight end that was lined up majority like a wide receiver. And, that was something that it probably was his representation, trying to use as leverage to make sure that he gets the best contract possible. Understand this, folks, okay? These agents, right? The representation of these players, their job is to maximize their players' portfolio, okay, by any means necessary. And sometimes when we're hearing these different conversations and reports coming out, that's the agents trying to create leverage. So when it comes to Jimmy Graham was lined up like a wide receiver, the way that Sean Payton and his offense utilized him, and he wanted to get paid accordingly. And there's nothing wrong with that. That is a very interesting theory. That is something that should be discussed. When it comes to Chris Olave, you're talking about a guy, Akeem, that wasn't out here rattling the cages, talking about y'all need to go ahead and pay me blase. He came to grips and reality that he was coming off, a concussion that cost him the majority of his season and bet on himself, right? He went out there, he made plays, he bet on himself, had his best season statistically, which gave him the leverage. So with that, I don't think that you're going to get any type of controversy. When it comes to the Saints, they take care of players like this. They want these type of players inside of their locker room, guys that are just about their business, guys that are just there to do their job and are not head cases and headaches. They have a tendency of keeping those players around for a long time, sometimes much longer than they should be. But I don't see that happening. You want to have a good 1-2 punch here. Like you want to have that. Like you have this in several places. Now, let's take a look at the Philadelphia Eagles, right? Philadelphia Eagles made a trade with the Tennessee Titans a few years back to acquire A.J. Brown. You had the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith, coming out of Alabama. I mean, they believed in his ability and his skills, but he wasn't ready to be that number one guy just yet. So you had A.J. Brown, who was the number one guy, Devontae Adams, the supporting cast member, and now, not Devontae Adams, Devontae Smith, And now you have Devontae Smith, who has grown to be that leader, to be that number one guy for Philadelphia. Now you can move on from A.J. Brown. When it comes to the Saints, I don't see that. I don't see that happening. You want to keep around a good 1-2 punch as long as possible because you don't want a really talented guy that is your number one to go down and is a huge drop-off, right? Most teams, they find that success because you have that 1-2 punch. I mean, you think about it, right? Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. Y'all remember those days, right? Like I said, Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown. Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. Right? You want that 1-2 punch. Like you don't want to just have a number one guy and just rely on him consistently. And like I said, something was to happen to him, then you have a huge drop off. We seen this in New Orleans with Michael Thomas, where you had Michael Thomas taking a majority of receptions, but he was able to hold up his end of the bargain. Right? You outside of Michael Thomas, I think there was a 69 reception separation between him and the next wide receiver. Right? That's insane. Right? You don't want to have that. That's great That's great that you have a vice grip wide receiver that can go out there and make plays, but any team will tell you, like, the more pass catchers they have on a team, the more threatening their offense is going to be. TJ, when they're going to bring back Jake, he will take the team to the playoffs. I think Jake Hayner's days in New Orleans are pretty much done, man. He's not top 10, but I do believe he is that second tier. The fact that he is the 26th ranked wide receiver by the coaches and GMs is blasphemous. Well, like I said, I mean, that's not his fault. And I said this at the beginning of this podcast. A lot of these wide receivers don't get the attention and the respect they deserve, and it's not any fault of theirs. It's the fact that they're not surrounded by the right individuals, and they probably don't have the right quarterback throwing them the ball consistently to show their skills and their ability. The wide receiver position is a dependable, dependent position. It depends on what quarterback that you have getting that wide receiver the football. Look, I don't care if it's Jerry Rice out there, Terrell Owens, Megatron, Randy Moss. If you don't have a quarterback that has the ability to throw you the football, you are not going to make plays consistently enough for people to look at you as a top tier receiver. That is why some of these wide receivers that have these abilities and skills, they get upset round year 3, round year 4, when they still dealing with the same quarterback situations and they don't have the right guy throwing them the football. And, it's a revolving door of quarterbacks. That stunts the growth of a wide receiver. So I think when you're talking about coaches ranking these guys, right, they're ranking them based on what they actually seen, right? And what we've seen from Chris Olave is a very talented wide receiver who has some unique abilities, but hasn't consistently put up the numbers where you're just like, man, is he Jefferson? Is he Jamar Chase? Is he this guy, that guy, right? So out of sight, out of mind. This goes back to the conversation we had a couple episodes back. The New Orleans Saints haven't given you reasons to pay attention to him over the last 4 to 5 years. We see Chris Olave as a top tier, a very promising receiver, because as a Saints fan, as someone that covers the Saints, as someone that is a onlooker that consistently looks at Saints football, you see the talent. But the Saints aren't making it to the playoffs. The Saints are struggling between, trying to look like they can do something, or, like, man, we don't know what type of day it's going to be, right? So when you're dealing with a team like that, of course nobody's going to pay attention to them. And a lot of the talented players are going to get, going to slide through the cracks. You start talking about guys when they give you something to talk about. But if I'm watching ESPN and, the Saints lost 4 straight, why would I be sitting up here talking about how great Chris Olave is? But if the Saints go out here and they winning 5 straight games, 6 straight games, Tyler Shuck looking like something, then Chris Olave will start to get the attention and the respect that he deserves as a wide receiver. You got to give something to get something back, but I just want people to understand that. This isn't personal, right? Like, you can't tell everybody that you got a jumper like Steph Curry and nobody ever seen you shoot, right? You can't say that I can throw the ball like Patrick Mahomes and nobody ever seen you throw the football, right? You have to prove it, right? And if nobody's paying attention to it, how are you going to prove that? So that's one of those situations. I don't think it's a shot at Chris Olave's ability. I just think that this is an indicator and a realistic look at how the NFL world looks at the New Orleans Saints in 2026. And I said this before, and take the rose-colored glasses off, take the black and gold pom-poms out your hand. Realistically, have the Saints over the last 4 to 5 seasons giving you something to talk about consistently, other than the fact that you just like the team and you just watch them consistently. They haven't. So if the Saints get back to their winning ways, they start winning consistently, then you'll start to see some of these players that you feel like get the short end of the stick, get the recognition they deserve. But right now, Saints got to prove it. TJ, I'm seeing all these other wide receivers get paid except for Chris. I don't like what Mickey is doing. He needs to pay that boy. like I say, he will get paid, Gregory. I think it's more so about the verbiage of contracts. I don't think it's the fact that the Saints don't want to pay him. I think it's the fact that, they just want to make sure that the deal works in everybody's favor. Yeah, but I was agreeing with you, but I'm saying we need to get rid of P. Warner. I guess that's a conversation y'all was having in the chat. Yeah, P. Warner just needs to step it up as a linebacker. He definitely is going to be that leader, and he has to emerge as that leader, right? You don't have DeMario anymore. He's the elder statesman in the linebacker room. I know the Saints got Caden Ellis back, but Caden Ellis spent 3 seasons with the Falcons, so P. Warner is that leader in that locker room at the linebacker position. So he has to step it up, man. Let's see. I think weakness for linebacker is coverage. That's just me. Well, I mean, I think the Saints got some talented young linebackers that can run a little bit. I'm looking forward to seeing if Isaiah Stallbird or Jalen Ford can be able to step up because, those guys are pretty good in coverage. Scroll down a little bit more. Says if Bryce Lance and Jordan Tyson develop to great players, you can see the Saints move on from CO. Well, look, I don't want to see the Saints move on from CO. I don't want to see them move on from Chris Olave. I would hope that you would have yourself a Colston, Meacham, Devery Henderson type situation where, you can distribute the ball based on who's having the best day, right? The more weapons you have on the offensive side of football, the less stress you'll have at moving the football offensively. And, I don't want people to fall into that trap like you just need that one guy and then all these other guys that are around like, okay, like we just need this one guy right here that can get 11, 12 catches and this other guy, just catch the ball when they throw it to you. The more matchup nightmares you can create and the scenarios that you can create, the more dangerous your team will be. So if you have Bryce Lance, who emerges as a promising young, talented wide receiver, and Jordan Tyson lives up to the expectations that are placed on him as of right now, and then you have Chris Olave out there, that is a very dangerous dynamic. And then you're talking about a guy in Jordan Tyson you don't have to pay for another 4 seasons. Bryce Lance, you ain't got to pay for another 3 seasons. And if you go ahead and give Chris Olave his bread at that particular time or this season, then we're talking about 3 or 4 years of production and offense that can be pretty scary when all guys are on the field. That is what you want. You don't want to be like, okay, man, this guy's emerged as a number 1 receiver. You know what? Let's go ahead and trade him. What are you trading him for? Like, what are you going to bring him in for? Like, okay, will we get like a first-round draft pick for you to start all over again? Let's just say you use that first-round draft pick, for something that may or may not pan out. And you have a guy who has shown you that he can consistently make plays and be a number 1 and be a top receiver for you. You want to keep guys like that as long as possible. Now, it's a great situation to be in from a business perspective. If you have a bunch of wide receivers on deck and any one of those guys can go for 100 at any time, yeah, that's great leverage from a business perspective, but that's dangerous from a schematic perspective if you are killing more in his offense. So you want to keep those guys around as long as possible. I'm not looking at it like, oh, man, you seen, Chris Olave had 100 catches again. Let's see what we can get for him. No, man, like, okay, let's build on this. Like, man, he got 100 catches, got over 1,100, 1,200 yards, man. Let's try to see if we can win the whole freaking thing. Like, you want to keep your best players around as long as possible, man. You want to keep that window open as long as possible, right? You want that window to be wide open, okay? You ain't trying to, like, slowly close the window. And, like I said, the Saints are in a really good position. If Jordan Tyson works out, if Bryce Lance works out, if Brarian Brown works out, and then you have Chris Olave in there who you are going to give an extension to for the next, 3 to 4 years, then I'm talking about 3 or 4 years of offensive firepower that the Saints have desperately needed since 2018. Just think about that, folks. Alfred, thank you very much for the $4.99. Says, what you think AK all-purpose yards will be in a reduced role this year? Look, I think that Alvin Kamara can still be an integral part of the offense, despite the fact of not getting the majority of the carries. I don't know what his all-purpose yards will be. Maybe 800, 900 yards, probably even 8 to 1,000. Like, what are we talking about? Like, if he rushed for like 500 and some yards and he catches another 500, that's 1,000 right there, right? That's not out of the realm of possibility over 17 games. So yeah, I think he can eclipse 1,000. That's not something that I don't feel like is, something that Alvin Kamara can attain. So yeah, I would say between 8 to 1,000. To your point, TJ, look what Breeze did for no-name pass catchers. If you got a bad quarterback, you don't know what a wide receiver is. Yeah, and we've seen Tyler Shuck has the ability to be able to elevate the players around him. Kevin Austin's not a household name. Ronnie Bell's not a household name. Devon Vele is not a household name, but he is able to get the ball to those guys in order for them to make plays. Think about it. When the Saints made a trade for Devon Vele, everybody thought the Saints got screwed over. Oh, Sean Payton screwing the Saints from Denver, right? Because you didn't see Devon Vele on the field. You didn't see what he could do, right? Then all of a sudden, Tyler Shuck comes in, 3rd and 18, passing the ball to Devon Vele, first down, 3rd and 14, right? Need a big play, Devon Vele, Johnny on the spot. Dang, man, that trade wasn't bad after all. You get what I'm saying? You have to put these wide receivers in positions for people to see that. Goes back to the analogy that I used earlier. If you got an arm like Patrick Mahomes, I never seen you throw. How can I know that you have an arm like Patrick Mahomes? If you can shoot threes like Steph, I ain't never seen you shoot. How can I see it? You have a quarterback that has the ability to be able to elevate the players around him. So that's great. So now you have guys, if they're good, they're going to show those skills. If guys are promising, you're going to see those skills too. You want a quarterback that can do those type of things, right? You want a quarterback to be able to get the best players the ball, but you also want a quarterback to be able to see certain things in players, to count on them in certain situations, and help them to be a part of the team. Yes, sir. We was having a conversation in the chat. Okay, I kind of figured that, Dalton. I appreciate the optimism in the Who Dat Nation, but we got to make sure to keep everything in perspective. Yeah, look, I think when it comes down to it, Doc, I think people are just tired of watching the New Orleans Saints just look like a bad product, right? Just fall flat on their face, disappoint them every single week. And just like anything in life, when things aren't going our way, we try to find the bright side of life. We try to find optimism somewhere, right? Rather it's in the form of a very talented wide receiver coming in the first round, the same draft Jordan Tyson. Rather it's watching a promising young quarterback play 9 games and try to galvanize a fan base. Like, you try to latch on to some positive things that you feel can actually help the team elevate, because nobody wants to feel like all hope is lost. So I think that Saints fans just want something that they can actually believe in and something they can actually buy into. So I don't think people are looking at the Saints going to the Super Bowl or anything like that. But if you can get a better product on the field where you don't feel like you wasted 3.5 hours of your life on Sunday, I think that people will be okay with that. Just look competitive. Win some games that nobody says you have any business of winning, right? Beat the teams like that. I mean, I'm talking about decisively. The teams that people say, oh, man, y'all should go ahead and just beat them to sleep. Show people that you are worth talking about. Show people that you have the right tools and you're trending in the right direction. But I just think that fans just want something to believe in. You do that, then I just think that, that's when everybody's going to get excited. I don't think anybody's talking about the Saints going to the Super Bowl or anything like that. They just want to see a good product. But let's go ahead and switch gears, folks, and feel free to continue to put your comments in the chat pertaining to the Saints. But I do want to acknowledge this next topic. It's more of a national topic. It's about the national media, man. There's something going on with the national media. A lot of media personalities, well-known, have been let go from major sports outlets like ESPN, NFL, Network. Ryan Clark, the news hit on Monday afternoon, He was let go by ESPN. Most recently, Tom Pelissero, NFL insider, well known for his work. I've met Tom Pelissero a couple of times. He was extremely kind to me. I met him at the Senior Bowl Combine. Always nice, always kind. He was let go by ESPN, NFL Network. I believe Charles Davis was the name that I saw. Cam Newton, Bart Scott, just a few guys like that have been let go from the ESPN umbrella. And people are wondering to themselves, like, what the heck is going on? Number one, I just want to say this. Bart Scott, Cam Newton, Ryan Clark, these guys aren't losing any sleep. Again, let go by ESPN. They were more contributors than anything. Ryan Clark is doing a really good job over there with the Pivot podcast. You got Cam Newton out there with 4th and 1. Bart Scott, he does his thing on the side as well. Tom Pelissero, man, as long as you still got those connections, I mean, he'll be all right, right? You can be a solo act. But I just don't get like why some people are like happy and elated that somebody got fired. Like, how miserable is your life that you're happy and you're cheering a guy losing his job based on the fact that he was asked to give his opinion about a take? You don't agree with said take. Now all of a sudden, like, you happy that he lost his job. Like, this is the robotic, like, echo chamber that we have created when it comes to social media, where people who have a difference of opinion than we do, we have a tendency of saying, oh man, I don't like this guy, I can't rock with this guy. We pray for their downfall. Like, give me a freaking break. I believe that the most amazing thing about life, about any one of us, is the fact that we are all different. We're all different. We don't think the same. Like, some of us, we look like our family members, but we're not our family members. Everybody has their perspective. I've been talking for about 42 minutes now, and I'm pretty sure there's some things that I've said. Some people probably nod their head in agreement. Then there's probably some things that I said, and people like, I don't know about that, TJ. And that's okay, because the world is not designed for us to just have an amen corner. And I think that is the main reason why a lot of people fall into depression, fall into anxiety, fall into all these different things, because we want people to think like us, be like us, feel the same way that we do. So I just want to make this very clear. Anybody cheering for a guy losing his job because he may have said something that you didn't like, and all of a sudden, oh, I don't like him, so man, I'm glad he lost his job. Like, get a life. Seriously. All right. Number two, this is the reason why I just made up in my mind that I want to be a brand more so than just being a worker at it. And you know what I'm saying? Like, and I want to make this clear. There's nothing wrong with working for publications. There's nothing wrong with working for big business. But you have to understand too, that sometimes working for those businesses, you're at the mercy of that business. You might have an opinion, a feeling, a view that you can't even express because, I'm wondering what they're going to think about when I say this. I'm going to wonder what they're going to feel like when I say that. When you are marching to the beat of your own drum, you create your own brand, you ain't got to think about that. And that's one of the best things that I feel consistently, right? That I can be able to get behind a microphone, get in front of a camera, and give my opinion based on how I feel. And I ain't got to think about, oh man, I wonder what they going to say to me tomorrow. Like, who cares, right? I mean, I said what I said because I felt that way. So what the best thing about all of these guys, when it comes to, them being let go, is unfortunate that they build up enough of a brand for themselves in order for them to be able to rise above this situation. And, the media space is trending in a completely different direction. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even watch ESPN like that. I don't turn on ESPN. I don't turn on Fox Sports 1. Not the fact that I don't support these guys, but I mean, I'm watching a lot of their takes and views and clips like on YouTube and Twitter and X, TikTok. That's just why I'm watching it. So a lot of these guys have created brands for themselves from the help of social media and YouTube channels and TikTok social media pages. So it's not the end of the world anymore when you have a media personality get let go by a major sports outlet, because I feel in the next 10 to 15 years, that might be a dying breed. You know what I'm saying? It might be one of those things where you see a person more focused on their brand and building their brand. And then you have like different places like ESPN and Fox Sports 1 bringing those guys in. Because if you look at it, how do you think Cam Newton got a job? How do you think Shannon Sharp, for a short period of time, he got on ESPN? Because of what he did with Club Shay Shay and Nightcap, Cam Newton, what he did with 4th and 1. So people want to work with you, right? Because they want you to bring your influence to their space. So this is why this is a message for everybody out here. The power of branding, the power of representing yourself, to carry yourself the way that a major big time individual carries themselves, because you have an opportunity to create a brand of your own, and you don't have to stand on the shoulders of ESPN. If you do a good enough job, ESPN will call you, Fox Sports 1 will call you, sponsors will call you, and you don't never have to step foot in Bristol. You never got to step foot in Los Angeles. If that happens for you, great. But that shouldn't just be your main objective, because if you was to reach those goals, then what other goals would you have for yourself? So just want to make that very clear. Number one, go back to the top. If you are cheering a person losing their job because of their opinions about sports, and you're just happy, oh man, they said that Shadir Sanders was being held back by the man. Okay, whatever. You don't believe that? Whatever. But a man should lose his job because you don't feel the same way that he does? Like, get a freaking life. And number two, like, it's okay to build your own brand, because this is the reason why a lot of these guys that we heard let go today, they'll be able to stand tall because they've created a lane for themselves and they can just continue to work. We seen a situation that happened with Shannon Sharp a few months back. He was let go by ESPN. Don't seem like Shannon Sharp is losing any sleep. It don't seem like any of his numbers or anything like that, or his sponsorships dried up. He's still out there getting it. So, just believe in yourself, buy into what you're doing. And, don't just look towards these major publications to define you. It's great to be a part of them. Don't get me wrong, but it's not the only way that you can be able to maintain and obtain success. So there's that. Go ahead and read some more of your comments here. Says, talking about a hot summer with these layoffs. Man. Yeah, man. But I think a lot of these layoffs stem from what I'm talking about. Like, people aren't really tuning in to like I don't want to say they're not tuning in. They're not absorbing the networks like they once did. Like me growing up, man, I used to sit down and watch ESPN all day. Like when the late great Stuart Scott was on there, and Dan Patrick and Rich Eisen and all. Like I used to watch that all day, all night. Chris Berman, NFL primetime. But now you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that no more, man. Like, man, you heard what such and such said. What do you say? Oh, man, I'm about to send you the link right now. Like, I ain't got to sit up here and go back and watch the entire show. Like, the clip is right there in real time. And then in the process, these women are building their brands in the process. Rather, like you look at it or not. Rather you sitting up there watch hating, they're still creating a brand. Rather you're watching them because you like them, they're still building a brand. Yeah, we can't need that negativity ish. Yeah. Dang, TJ, y'all blocked my main account. I don't like hearing the real. Man, I didn't do anything. And, I didn't block anybody. I don't know. You got to take that up with the chat, man. I don't know who blocked. I guess, people didn't like the Jake Hayner comment. Like Jake Hayner not taking the Saints to the Super Bowl. I don't think people are buying it. Plus, ESPN still have to pay them guys until their contract is up. Yeah, pretty much. or maybe they got some type of loophole. Who knows? Or maybe they'll probably have a severance package where they can agree with. I ain't trying to count nobody bread. They ain't already read that. But yeah, man, look, who that records, y'all already know how who that records roll, man. Y'all ain't got to block my guy. He gonna break out a second account only to get the boot yet again. They're gonna learn we tired of it. Season hasn't even started and the negativity. I don't even know what was the negativity. Can somebody explain to me what was said? I missed the Chris Olave portion of the program. You know that's my boy. Yeah, Nate. We were just talking about him emerging as a number one receiver, and went back to the comments that was made about how I feel at the time. He isn't considered a number one receiver, but this can be that year where things start to really come together for him. We broke down the top 10 of the wide receivers that are in the league right now, according to ESPN. And, his name wasn't on there. So we just kind of discussed that and how this could be the year where, a lot of the questions about Chris Olave can be answered. But Nate was one of those people that was on top of it, man. Felt that, Chris Olave just needed somebody to throw him the football to really start to shine through. And, if that's the case and, it's looking like it is, that would be great, for him to be able to grow and be that number one receiver that the Saints need and get the respect in the NFL. I mean, he's starting to get it with the NFL Top 100 making his debut. So if he can build on that, then he'll be fine. Justin, that's why TJ made us moderators, zero negativity here. I mean, look, I'm okay with people being skeptical about certain things. That's okay, man. That's okay with people being skeptical about certain things. It's okay, if people don't feel the same way. I want people to understand this as moderators. I do want to put this out there. Okay, we can't block people because we disagree with what they're saying, right? If they don't feel the same level of optimism as you, that's not ground for them to be blocked or get kicked out of the group, right? If they're being disrespectful, if they're taking shots at people, they're making certain people feel certain type of ways, based on the verbiage of the comments, then by all means do so. But we don't want to make it a duty for people to get blocked because they have a difference of opinion than we do, right? We don't want to do that. All right, there's a difference. Like, you may not want to see what they're talking about, and then what they say may upset you, but that's still not grounds for them to be kicked out. So let's take that into consideration too, man. We don't want to create an echo chamber here. Like, we don't want to create, a place where there's very little to no discourse. So I'm just asking everybody, right? I'm asking everybody, like, what are they saying, right? Are they saying something that just absolutely egregious that could be considered disrespectful, or something that can be considered offensive to a person based on race, color, creed, etc., or they just don't feel the same way you do about a certain player or a game? Like, we can't fall into that. Let's see, TJ, you did not block who that. We the moderators handled it. You're welcome. Let's see. I agree that ESPN isn't the same anymore. Nah, it's not the same. It's not the same, man. Let's see. We was just getting tired of him trolling. Enough was enough. Yeah. It's just kind of his thing, with the whole Jake Hainer thing. I don't know. Let's see. Second team All-Pro last season. More chemistry with Shuck and more weapons around him, bro. We should be all excited about this year for the offense as a whole. I agree. This could be the year everything turns around for the Saints. Xavier Harris gets healthy, it's a wrap. Yeah, Xavier Harris, who was projected to be a second-round pick, kind of fell into some issues, of course, off the field. That was one of the main reasons why he went undrafted. Had absolutely nothing to do with his abilities or his skill set. I mean, he's just as good as Christian Miller is, and he could have easily been a late first-round pick. He was that talented. So if he can be that guy, man, if he can get into the locker room, stay out of trouble, stay focused, keep the main thing, he'll be okay. He was taking shots at Kellen Moore. What did he say about Kellen Moore? Oh, he called Kellen Moore a clown. Oh, okay. I mean, yeah, I mean, look, y'all already know. Y'all already know, man. I'm gonna just leave it at that. I just know how he operates. I just know who that records operates. It's more so like I mean, he just just kind of goes against the grain. That's just kind of what he created. So I just kind of just laugh and keep it moving. But look, I appreciate the moderators for keeping the main thing. But let's let's try to really consider some of the things that we block or who we don't block, or who we kick out or who we not kick out. Like he was ranked higher than during London. Yeah, he was ranked higher than Drake London. Yeah, I mean just a couple spots. I mean nothing that just like that's eye popping. No, he was like 2 spots ahead of Drake London. Best promotion on Stream Boo, like this. I got like this right here. Like, by all means, let it go and block that, because I'm pretty sure that's spam. Let's see. I think that's. Let me see. I'm gonna scroll up a little bit. I know a lot was said over the last few minutes, so I'm gonna scroll up a little more, and I'll take a few more, and then we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. It says ESPN's been digging their own grave for a while now. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just not what it used to be. And I mean, it is what it is, man. ESPN is not what it used to be. And it has absolutely nothing to do with the individuals that work there, to me, because I mean, they do a good job for the most part. But I do feel that they have kind of claimed, I guess kind of like, how can I word this? It seems to me like they basically like kind of created like a channel where it's more about the characters than the actual news. Like you have some well-respected media personalities that really, did the necessary things to be in that journalism space. And they're basically known more for, outlandish takes, or just basically just doing all type of little random skits versus like really giving you the news. Like you had guys with personality at ESPN, and they always have had guys like that, right? I mean, Chris Berman, everybody know Chris Berman. Whoop! He could go all the way back, right? No one circles the wagon. Like everybody like knows Chris Berman. Like he was always animated. Stuart Scott, hater in the house, cool as the other side of the pillow. Stop, Robert. Like everybody had like their personalities, but they always gave you the news. Like it wasn't like, oh, you was just looking forward to hearing Stuart Scott say, hater in the house, cool as the other side of a pillow, right? Like it just kind of came with him presenting the news in that way. But now it's like you got Stephen A. Smith, showing up the troll Cowboy fan with cowboy hat and cigar, and then you have a bunch of guys out here, if they don't care for a team, they'll come and put something on to troll them. Like that's the type of environment that they basically created, and news has become secondary, and that's what it is in sports. Like it's a good thing that you had debate shows like Cold Pizza and First Take, and all of these other like debate shows that came out. But the thing about it is now you have a generation now that feels like that's what journalism is. 2 guys, 2 women, a guy and a woman, split screen. Oh, I disagree with you. Here's why. Let me counter that. Let me rebuttal. And everybody just feels like that's sports. And it's now to a point where even an algorithm like will pull those type of videos to the top, right? And if somebody just try to make some logical sense, they at the bottom because there's no conflict, right? Because that's what we're starting to feel that journalism actually is. So yeah, I feel like they mostly started to like gravitate towards the character more so than the journalism. But that's dangerous to me because like where's the difference, right? What's the difference, folks? right? If everybody just want to be Skip Bayless, everybody just want to be Stephen A. Smith, like, what are we doing? Like that's and I feel like they kind of just, fell into that trap because, well, and I will say this to their credit, it has shown that business model works. And never forget, ladies and gentlemen, never forget with the glitz and the glamour, the lights and the 4K and the 8K and all these other different, top-notch camera angles, it's still a business at the end of the day. And you still have to appease the investors. You still have to appease the sponsors. So you're doing all those things in the name of keeping those guys, those companies engaged and watching, right? And keeping us watching by doing that because, the business models, the surveys all show that stuff works. So they're going to do what they feel that works. But in the process, man, if you trying to make boatloads of cash, sometimes we can lose our soul in the process. And we forget about what made us what we are and who we are as people, as journalists, as channels, right? Can never forget that. No matter how much success you attain, no matter how much money you start to make, never forget where you came from. Never forget where you started. And, stay true to yourself. I think people stayed to started to tune out ESPN out when Perk admitted that they're told what to say. I don't know if they told what to say or not. I ain't hear what Big Perk said or not. All I know is it's more like a character. And, I don't feel like you should go in anything being a character. That's the most offensive thing people would say to me. Like, not so much like now, like people kind of know I am who I am. But when people are like, man, you ain't nothing but a character. No, I'm not. I'm me, right? I don't rehearse anything that I say, right? I'm not a character. I don't even know the direction of where this show is going to go. So saying that I'm a character, hey, that's the most offensive thing you can say to me in the podcasting space. But I feel like people just cling mostly on to the character of themselves. Like, okay, man, I'm gonna just go up in here, I'm gonna just be overly animated. Like, yeah, you're trying to maintain your spot and all that kind of stuff on television, trying to keep them checks rolling in. But I don't know, man. You just gotta stay true to yourself. And that's something that I will never negotiate or bargain with anybody to do. Like, if I feel like I got to dilute anything that I'm doing or water myself down, like in order for me to fit in your space or fit in anybody else's space, no, thank you. No, thank you. I ain't seen the check yet. Back in the 90s, SportsCenter was every man's favorite TV show. And woman for the most part, if you're a sports fan. Look, I was in New Orleans, Channel 35 on Cox Cable. That was ESPN. I don't know if it still is, but it was Channel 35. I just tuned into it consistently, man. Channel 38, I believe, was ESPN too. Man, I used to watch that consistently, man. I can remember like going outside and just throwing the ball up to myself and, making little moves and shakes and stuff like that outside my grandmother's lot at my grandparents' house. And, I'm just out there, doing moves and, I'm doing commentary like I'm Chris Berman or Stuart Scott. Like that it was embedded in the very fabric of American sports. It was the channel. Now, not so much. I'm not saying people don't watch it, but it just don't carry as much weight as it once did. All these Rams fans all of a sudden, like, nothing wrong with that, man. If they got some Rams fans up in here, thank y'all for being here. Appreciate it. Jake DeLone, come and you're God of the, oh yeah, Jake.com line, you wanted DeLone. Yeah, Chris Berman. Yeah, Chris Berman always had them nicknames, man. Yeah, when Mike Allstar run the ball, a guy, like Jerome Bennett's running the ball. Yeah, there's only one Chris Berman, man, and there was only one Stuart Scott. May he rest in peace. Exactly, TJ. We need the authentic you, not you showing up in clown suits because somebody wants you to change for the brand. Man, I hear that. I heard that all the time. People's like, man, you just gotta, go along and get along. You gotta, like, I ain't changing up. I ain't changing up anything. I mean, if it's something like within reason that can help to like elevate the brand or make the show better, like I'm all ears. But if it involves me like losing sight or losing myself in the process, I want no part of that, man. Think I'll be all right. I think I'll be okay. And I want people to understand that you don't have to do those things, man. I'm telling you, in the next 5 to 10 years, when we talk about sports, you're going to be looking towards individuals more so than actual channels and brands. And well, I won't say brands because the person themselves is going to be the brand, but you're probably going to start looking at more individuals who are going to have corporate backings than one big conglomerate. Like there's always going to be one big conglomerate around, but like you can look at the media space right now. Like just think about this. Okay, if you're a Saints fan, just think about like Nick Underhill. Like Nick, he worked at a major publication if I'm not mistaken, but he bet on himself and created New Orleans football, and now he's going around, like with the Saints and doing his own thing. Like I have to like sit up here and just be like, okay, man, I got to do what corporate America tell me to do in order for me to make it. And like I said, I'm not knocking anybody for being a part of a major chain or anything like that. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to branch off and be your own brand, you can do that. I mean, look at me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I never worked at a major publication. I never worked at any major publication. Never worked at The Athletic. Never worked at Time Picayune, Advocate, any of those places. Like, even in South Carolina, never worked at a major publication. I worked at a radio station, but it has nothing to do with sports. Right? I created a sports podcast, and I created my own brand in the process. And in those same places where ESPN, Bleacher Report, Fox Sports, NBC Sports, I'm walking right past those different booths in the same spot they in. Walking right past the same people that we see on television every day. How is that possible? Well, when you believe and you bet on yourself and trust the brand and trust the process, it can happen. So, man, when I look at, situations like I said, like with Ryan Clark, Tom Pelissero, those guys are brands. They're going to be all right. Oh, man, they lost their job. What they going to do? Live? Shouts out to my guy, Ryan Clark, man. Like, sent him a message yesterday, told him, like, man, I respect what he do. And this guy works hard. Like, people, like, it's easy for somebody to sit up here and say, like, oh, man, yeah, I don't like what he be doing. This man works hard. That man stay grinding. See, we just see people on TV, man, all this stuff behind the scenes. It is hard, to be able to set up all these different things and get these interviews and get people to come on your podcast and all that kind of stuff. Like, that stuff not easy. It's not. So he gonna be all right, man. It's been a while, TJ. You still do interviews. When are you going to do another collab with Big Dash? Big Dash? A Big Q? A Big Q. That's the only Big Q, like the only one I can remember like I did a collab with. But man, it was just the off season, man. We'll start getting people back on the show, man. I reached out to Mike the TJAY. We're gonna try to set up a time where he can actually come on the show, man. Enjoy talking to Mike, and try to see if I can reach out to some more individuals to come on the podcast as well. So looking forward to doing that, man. But the off season, Big Dash from the Giants. Okay, yeah. I don't know, man. Yeah, Big Dash, man. Shouts out to Big Dash. Oh man. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, shouts out to him, man. I don't know. That was kind of like a one-time thing. I kind of just met Big Dash based on just kind of just reaching out and just collabing like that. And that's kind of what happens. Like, you do enough podcasts, people reach out to you, say you want to collab, but if he wants to collab, definitely look forward to doing that. definitely looking forward to doing that. I don't mind collaborating with anybody, but most of the time, like when you see that, it's like probably somebody reached out to me or vice versa, and we just try to get a good time and in a good space to be able to do it. So, but my final thoughts are very simple. Topic number one: Chris Olave definitely has the tools to be a number one receiver. And, looking forward to seeing what he can do in 2026. Hopefully he can stay healthy once again, like he did last season for the most part. I know he had the blood clot issue. Hopefully that, is an issue where, it won't be a factor going into 2026. But I expect for Chris Olave to have a really good season. And also, like I said, man, it's unfortunate that people are losing their jobs, but like I said, there's a lane for you. You can build your brand, you can build your name, you can do all those different things, man. You can be really, really great, and you don't need corporate backing to be able to do that, right? It's great that corporate, wants to work with you, but it's okay for you to build up enough of a brand where they give you a call more so than you putting out fillers for them, right? So remember that for all those people out there making these podcasts and creating these brands, and you're looking at the numbers and the analytics and the click rate and all that kind of stuff, like, oh man, what's going on here, man? Like, don't nobody want to pay attention to me. Man, trust the freaking process, man. Believe in your brand, believe in what you're doing, stay true to yourself. It's not always gonna happen overnight, like how they do on TV shows where, people like, oh, you see you talking, and the next thing you know, I'm a millionaire overnight. No, man, you just keep on trusting the process and keep on grinding and love what you're doing, right? And then if you can do that, what can a person tell you? So you'd be like, oh man, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to let you go. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but on to Cincinnati, right? But thank y'all so much for checking out this edition of the Straight Up TJ podcast. I hope you enjoyed this podcast as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. If you want to interact with me, all you have to do is follow me on X at TJAY Jones 8. And also make sure you subscribe to the Sleeper Saints podcast. Podcasts are put out every single week. We did a video. Shouts out to you, Jerry, and so many others. I've seen Dalton checking it out on Monday night. Did a podcast video about Chris Olave. We kind of talked about that. Answer some questions for the Who Dat Nation. So make sure you subscribe to the Sleeper Saints podcast YouTube channel. I think we almost at like 450 subscribers since we started maybe like a month and a half ago. So thank you all so much for helping that channel to grow. Continue to support the Straight Up TJ podcast, all the content. Keep it locked right here for all the up-to-date information pertaining to the New Orleans Saints and the whole world of sports around the NFL. So make sure that y'all subscribe. Hopefully hit that like button, and hope you are happy. Hope you enjoy your day, your night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And until next time, I'll see you down the road.
TJ. Yeah. Straight up. Let's go. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Tap in, sit back, press replay. We're locked in with the Saints on a weekday. Now we talk every sport, every big play. Years on the grind, now we level up the view. From the dome to the world, get a better look at you. No script, just truth when we break it down. Barbershop talk, but we broadcast it loud. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk.
Man, the lies that you tell, fam, you is not better than JSG. We proved that for the last 3 seasons. Shout out to JSG.
You tapped in with the truth. Straight up TJ. Real time talk, yeah, you know that it's live. From the draft to the deals, how the stars really thrive. From the court to the field to the big stage. We gon' cover every angle like a back page. No cap, no spin, just a clear take. If it's weak, we gon' say let the fear break. From the city that believe when the odds stack, TJ got the whole sports world in the group. Yeah. Straight up TJ. Straight up. Fresh takes every time a beat play. This ain't your everyday sports cliche. We talk real talk now, what the streets say. Welcome to Straight Up TJ. New wave every week, let it replay. From the Saints to the whole game each day. You tapped in with the truth. Straight Up TJ. TJ Jones. Turn it up, let it ride. Straight up TJAY, we on your side. New chapter, same grind, same name. Hit play, pull up, join the gang.